What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital, coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is December 29th, 2021. We have 2 more trading days of 2021, team. Pretty crazy. We're approaching 2022, and the market was kind of slow today. Today we're going to talk about the price action in the indices. We're going to go through some housekeeping items for Pristine Capital members, including the new Discord bots that were added into the server. We're also going to talk about some of my trades for the day. Before we jump into all that, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in the video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters. Last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account to any one of my trades. All right, let's dive in. Box scores for today. We had the S&P 500 finishing up 0.13%. We had the Nasdaq QQQ finishing basically flat, down 0.01%. IWM small caps actually closed up higher. Nice for the small caps, up 0.11%. Dow Jones was up 0.23%. And we had our ARK Innovation ETF down 1.07%. Just relentless selling in that ARK ETF. If you look at the closing ranges for all these indices, you can see not too bad for a consolidation day. Most of these, aside from ARK, closed with a pretty good range above the 50% mark. IWM actually closed pretty close to the high of the day. And you can see we had a vol crush in all of these indices. The VIX was down 3.36%. Breadth was not that bad either for a consolidation day. SPY had 68% advancers, Dow 71%. Worst breadth was in the IWM. And of course, the ARK Innovation ETF only had 29% advancers. Just a horrible performance. It just continues to get sold into your end. Finviz heat map. Take a look here. So a lot of these stocks everyone's been hiding out in, such as Apple, such as Google, such as Amazon, such as Tesla, such as Facebook. They all sold off, including Nvidia. AMD actually got hit pretty hard too. But we actually had some nice action in a lot of these other parts of the market. So on the headline index level, didn't look so great. But underneath the surface, aside from these FANG stocks, some pretty good action. Sectors. Semiconductors remain in our top momentum slot, and I actually got long Micron today for a swing trade. Technologies in our number 2 slot, and the home builders are in our number 3 slot. So those are the 3 big dogs. Those 3 areas. And you can see home builders were they our best performer? One of the best performers. Home builders were up 0.93%. And our top performer was actually the cannabis ETF, up 1.38% all the way down here. Some laggards, pretty much everything that's correlated with ARK. You can see all these ARK ETFs were down, EMQQ, blockchain assets were down, social media stocks were down, Chinese internets were down. So yeah, mixed action. Basically all of and this is going to end up being a theme throughout 2022 for all we know. Pretty much all of the normal sectors like healthcare, home builders, financials, energy, things like that, they were all up. But then these more futuristic growthy stuff, was all pretty much trading down. Style factors. These style factors don't look too bad. We had min vol at 0.43%. That was our big winner, so that is kind of risk off. And then high div, low vol, up 0.29%. Actually, defensives were our biggest winner, up 0.65%, excuse me. So yeah, defensives and min vol being higher just kind of shows you, it's not like some major risk was being put on or, huge risk on sentiment in the market. And then seasonality, we're getting this chop, and that makes sense for the last couple days to get some chop. One thing that I'm watching out for very closely over the next 2 days is this JPM hedged equity trade. Talked about it in yesterday's video. Talked about it in our Pristine Capital pre-market webinar. And that's pretty much just a bunch of deltas are going to have to be bought into the month end for this big JPM hedged equity collar trade. So we had on the S&P 500 second day of consolidation. And to me, this looks pretty much picture perfect. After a nice 4-day run, we're not even pulling back in price. We're just consolidating in time. So this to me is a very bullish development. I think this is an awesome thing. This 5-day EMA, it's catching up to price. Tomorrow it'll pretty much be there. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with a nice little consolidation in the market. And when you're sitting through it, if you're sitting through it, and this is why I continue to say, make sure you're getting up from the desk. A day like this in the Nasdaq or in the S&P 500, if you're sitting at the desk and you're like, I gotta make a lot of money today, has to happen, like, you're going to just burn your mental capital. That's something like, you know, I'm gonna keep hitting on this, but the last 2 years of trading was abnormal. There's people that really would never have been trading that just hopped in because it was literally like a casino with how easy it was to make money. This is now becoming like a more normal trading market. So I think that's why it's super important, like, to just set reasonable expectations. And if the market is not really giving you what you want, you have to be able to step away. If you can't, you know, that just means you're like addicted to risk taking. You're just a gambler, and it's going to be tough for you next year. Let's put it that way. Nasdaq, I like that this just consolidated above this monthly value area. Not a bad look at all. Russell 2000. Yeah, this one doesn't have the best look. So Nasdaq and SPY look pretty good. Russell really does not look that good. We are above the 20-day moving average, though. We're above the 10-day EMA. We just can't clear that 200-day simple moving average or this 50-day. Keep in mind, once we flip over to January, we're going to have a new monthly value area, and we're actually going to be trading above it. So it's kind of interesting. The trend will actually improve just because we've been consolidating here for the last month. Dow Jones. Nice finish for the Dow Jones, and this actually just confirmed the breakout. Dow Jones is firmly trading to new highs. And yeah, the Dow Jones does not have all these like overbought, crazy tech stocks, growth stocks, etc. It's a lot of just like FANG names, and then more like old economy stocks like McDonald's, which has been performing very well, like the banks, etc. It's pretty old economy index. Let's take a look at some of these hot areas of the market. So home builders, take a look at this, trading above value. If the index continues to move higher, the S&P 500, I would imagine this group is going to be one of those leaders. Now what's interesting for the home builders, once we flip over to January, this monthly value area is actually going to shift a little bit higher. So yeah, home builders looking pretty great. Semiconductors, let's take a look at that group. Semiconductors, very nice move. We had a little bit of a breakout. We're already retesting the breakout. It doesn't really look like super great power on this move or anything like that. And we saw AMD pretty weak today. One of our members actually exited AMD. I believe on this candle or this candle, I forget, but yeah, he's out. He's out for this red action. Down 3.19%. Let's dovetail this into my trades for the day because I did trade Micron. So yeah, Micron in our pre-market webinar, we just noticed this stock was pretty strong. And I got long this one for $94.31. And it's pretty good because I didn't have exposure to semis prior to this. And Micron, what's cool about this is we have the power earnings gap, really nice move after the earnings. And then we are just kind of stair-stepping higher. And when we check out this weekly chart, we're trading pretty much back at those prior all-time highs. And we're on the verge of just getting into blue sky territory where every person that's ever transacted in this stock, Micron, is actually up on their holdings. So yeah, bought that. And then I did take a 10% target. And the reason why, like, it's a pretty baby target. I closed it for $95.71. I paid $94.31. The only reason why, I just wanted to lock in a bit of revenue in case this reverses back down to my stop. In this marketplace, you know, we have to expect the unexpected. And another thing I think about 2022 is it's going to be all about how you manage your risk and manage your positions. One of the beautiful things about taking a target is, let's say this stock comes back to break even. Let's say I stop out. Okay, we came back to break even. At least I know I made a little bit of profit on that trade. And that's really what can preserve your mental capital, where it's like, even if you feel you're getting nowhere, man, everything's coming back in on me, you're at least taking little bits of revenue and just putting it in your pocket. That's going to be one of my main strategies throughout all of 2022, because I think we're going to have a lot more back and forth action than we did over the past 2 years. All right, so I traded Micron. That was pretty good. And then what else did I do? I also traded Alibaba. So I noticed just this repeat call flow coming into Alibaba. I saw it yesterday. And I also saw it this morning. So I bought, this is like a pretty speculative position, bought some January 21st, 112 calls for 580. I put this as a pure options flow trade. Take a look at Baba. So I put this on pretty close to the lows of the day, which is good. This stock, it's pretty much putting in an H pattern. And a lot of times these H patterns, it looks like, oh my gosh, perfect time to short. But a lot of times you find support here and you actually bounce out of that H pattern. So yeah, this one I bought it purely off the options flow. The chart is looking a little bit ugly. But we also have the January effect where no one has been touching these Chinese stocks. In 2021, it's been a horrible year for them. And I think maybe some buyers can come out on Jan 1. So I wanted to get aligned with that just in case we get a little balance action in this group. And that was all my trading for the day. You know, that was it. I did not want to rock the boat, do anything crazy. And I think that's going to be another common theme for 2022. You know, if I don't see anything, I'm not going to take anything. I'm not going to succumb to the pressures of FinTwit. And just like, you know, there's one stock in a sea of 5,000 that's going up. But there's, you know, 5,000 people on Twitter, you know, like chanting that they like, you know, doing victory laps that they were like in that one stock. Kind of what you have to realize about Twitter is 99% of what you see is fake. So all that matters is really just what's in your brokerage account. That's really it. And you have to be able to tune out that noise. That's another one of my goals for 2022. Just tune out that FinTwit noise. And then let's see. So we have that. Okay, and then speaking of which, brings us to, and this is mainly applies to Pristine Capital members. This is before we jump into our options order flow. So I am adding or added this TradyTix bots into our Discord. And added these in today. I'm doing a trial of this service just to see, you know, does it benefit us, does it not? And when you're on the trial, you get these querying bots. They pretty much allow you, you know, queries, you're getting to ask the bot questions. So let me see, I'm going to pull this up in our member chat, for instance. Take a look here. This was some of us just kind of like messing with these commands earlier. But it's pretty cool because you give the bot commands and it brings up information for you. So I think this is pretty cool. This is another, you know, I just want to make this server even more dynamic and have it where everybody just has access to really good tools. Everyone has access to options order flow, and you know, everyone, you don't need like these crazy platforms. You can just basically do everything, you know, straight from the Discord server. So pretty cool. The things that I really like, and I posted in our server all these commands because it's going to take a while to memorize these. But you can look at an options flow summary for a stock. You can look at unusual flow. You can look at big movers for the day, dark pool levels. You know, there's just a lot of different stuff. There's an options heat map. So there's a lot here. And what I really want to introduce, this is going to come, is there's basically like you know, scalping ideas that this thing can produce, scalping ideas, and I believe swing ideas as well, and some crypto ideas. I'm not really much of a scalping trader, and you know, throughout 2022 I'm gonna make sure, hey, if there's nothing going on, you know, my strategy, I am not that much of a scalper. You know, if I don't see anything, I'm not gonna be taking it. But I think this will be great because maybe you're in the group and you are more of a scalper and you want something that's kind of giving you like curated stocks that are setting up for scalps. I think this can help. And it's also going to give analyst upgrades, all that good stuff. So yeah, definitely check out, I put it in the announcements channel. It has all the commands, so feel free to just, you know, become, you know, more acquainted with this. All right, let's dive into today's options order flow. Let's go to our options races. Let's replay this. Yeah, and for anyone that is interested, we are running a sale on the Pristine Capital trading community. In my opinion, you know, this is a crazy deal that we're offering, so feel free, you know, go to pristinecapital.net. If you're interested, go ahead and check it out. All right, our options races. So we had Tesla with only 2.2 billion of flow. SPY, not that much either. And then we had some new players here. Nucor, NUE, NTR. Let's take a look at these newcomers. So we have Nucor is looking very interesting to me. This is some nice tight action that's happening right here. When we look at our weekly chart, this to me is a pretty good weekly setup. You know, the volatility is contracting here. And you can see even when this stock really plummeted a couple times on this weekly chart, you know, buyers just stepped right in. So I'm liking the way that Nucor looks here. Definitely going to be adding it to my watch list. But let's see what actually came in for Nucor. Yeah, Nucor, we had January 62.5 calls, January 50 calls, January 85 calls, January 75. So what's Nucor at now? 114. So this is all pretty deep in the money stuff. Yeah, it looks like some positioning going up for January. All right, let's take a look here. What else did we have? Mondelez. Is this like a consumer staples company? I forget what this is. More January stuff going up. Oh yeah, this is looking good. Let's see. I believe this is, yeah, consumer defensives. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of these groups like consumer defensives, consumer staples leading the way. This is definitely a different market with a different character, because think about it. You know, now a lot of these investment managers, they're trying to get positioned for 2022. What this is telling us is they're really trying to get positioned in defensive stocks into 2022. So the market's pretty much saying, hey, while the Fed is tightening, we are not going to just relentlessly bid the same growth stocks like we were for the past 2 years. We're moving into different groups. So yeah, I think this is going to be, you know, for a lot of these like favorite stocks that were just awesome, you know, I think there's going to be a rude awakening when the Fed starts to tighten, because that's just a different monetary regime where those stocks, you know, they just shouldn't do quite as well. Let's see, ITW, what is this one again? Illinois Tool Works. Yeah, industrial machinery breaking out to new highs. Very interesting. We have January flow coming up, same as some of these other stocks. Let's take a look maybe at one more. Let's take a look at this NTR. Huge flow here as well, all for January. Yeah, this is another breakout. And this is, yeah, in basic materials, agricultural input. So yeah, a lot of these different areas of the market are really flying off to the races. A lot of these other areas, they're just kind of staying put. Let's take a look. One thing I do want to check out before we wrap here. Let's check out our insights tab. And yeah, you can see put to call ratio for SPX at 2.06. I did see a healthy amount of put buying. So I'm actually leaning pretty bullish into the actual year end over these next 2 days. We'll have to see what happens. With that being said, I hope you all have an awesome rest of your evening, and I will see you all tomorrow.